One of my friend even pulled off my hijab once and said me that you will be looking so good if you remove your hijab. And she also asked me to come. She almost forced me to come to the college without hijab.
After 13 years, all the Muslim girls, all the puberty, they could not go out from the home.
We are being attacked on religion, and women like Nidha are on the front lines of that because they wear those markers of religion. I still have some protection because I can blend into this majoritarian idea because I wear my hair open, I wear clothes that may not mark me out. It's only when I give people my first name, my identity card, things like that, that I'm revealed to be a Muslim.
We are near to the genocide. It's already the report had came that we are we are at the 8th stage of the genocide, and still people are saying as this is the right to education. Keep your religion and fight for the education. While lessen your dress, it's more liberated you are. If you are dress excessive dress, you are so much oppressed. You are under male oppression. If your dress is much lessened, you are liberated. That's the kind of view I have get views point their approach I had get from the walls they represent.
Most of the women, we are first fighting with the same community for the freedom or education. We have to fight with the family. We have to fight with the society. My cousin, only 6-year-old girl, she is wearing hijab. Can you imagine why? What's the need? We want education. We have to liberate our society and women also. But the men always not letting us.
When you have the leaders of this regime who sit with their orange robes, who hold dharam sansads and deploy the might of the state, how is that a fair comparison to what is happening here?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We have with us today writer Salma, theater maker Nisha Abdulla, who's also an educator, and Nidha Parveen, who's a postgraduate student from TIS. So today, of course, we are going to be discussing the Karnataka Hijab Row. But before we get into it, I want to do two things. One is to establish the difference between the hijab, the niqab, and the burqa, and also give our viewers a short summary of the events that have transpired so far. So, the hijab is a headscarf and covers the hair and the neck. The niqab is a garment that covers the head, the body, and a part of the face. Only the eyes are revealed. And the burqa is a garment that covers the head, the face, and the body. I'm just making this distinction clear because in several social media discussions as well as media reports, these terms are being used interchangeably. So, how did all of this begin? Back in December 2021, a group of young Muslim girls decided to wear the hijab to the government PU college in Udupi. Now, there was no rule banning them or prohibiting them from doing this, but they were told that they cannot wear it to the classroom. They were told that they can wear it on campus but not enter the class wearing the hijab. When the girls refused to relent, they were told that they cannot attend classes. 6 of them are still protesting this. Following this, several colleges in Karnataka, private as well as government, decided to bar entry for girls wearing the hijab. The reason they cited was that several Hindu students had said that they would take to wearing the saffron shawl to class if these girls were given permission to wear the hijab. Now, interestingly, many of these colleges had actually permitted the wearing of hijab to classrooms. So this was something new that had come up. As you can imagine, the issue has become highly politicized and communally charged. The involvement of multiple political organizations is also being looked at. In the meantime, in the interim, the court has said that the students cannot wear the hijab or the saffron shawls to the class. So that's where we are at right now. Um, I want to begin by asking my panelists about their personal journeys as Indian Muslim women. I can see that Salma, you don't wear the hijab, neither does Nisha, whereas Nidha does. So, could you tell me what was your journey and how did you arrive at this choice? Could we start with Nidha?
Yeah, sure. So I from my undergraduate, I mean, I studied my undergraduate from bachelor's degree from Delhi University Hindu College. So there is first I am hearing the question about hijab, and I will always wonder why people ask this question. Like I never asked them why they wear bindi. I never asked them why they wear shorts. I never asked them why they wear this kind of particular dress or anything. I never asked them about their personal choices or anything. So I every time wondered why is this question every time, each and time. I mean, some of my friends ask me daily, and one of my friend even pulled off my hijab once and said me that you will be looking so good if you remove your hijab. And she also asked me to come, she always forced me to come to the college without hijab. So there is nothing to happen more without this. So I always wonder why people can't accept us as what we are. So this was always the question I asked myself, and I arrived at an answer after hearing different talks about these issues. It's clear cut Islamophobia, and after that, it was a kind of, my hijab was a kind of a response to Islamophobia wherever I go in Delhi. Because till my 12th standard, I was in a Muslim management school. I studied in a Muslim management school, so I didn't heard about this question because everything was new for me. Everything in Delhi was new for me. The Even though we had seen that Muskan, sorry, not Muskan, that 6 students who were asked to sit in separate school, a separate class in, they were segregated from their class. So even in the crowd, I feel like I every time feel like I'm segregated. It's not it's not something should be visible, but invisibly itself, I felt every time very segregated in my classroom. And also while the daily program happened, we were there, and all the day, whole days, I think I have 4 eyes. I kept 4 eyes with me everywhere. So I don't know where the attack will be there, because I'm visible. It's visibly there. I am a Muslim, and I don't know from where I will be getting attacked. But all we have is faith and the courage that it's our fight. We don't have any other option other than fighting this. And each and every time I wear hijab, I just feel proud of me because I am self asserting myself and being a hijabi Muslim woman.
Okay. Salma, you want to go next?
Uh, uh, our dress is our choice. This is my opinion. Whichever dress we are going to wear, we have to decide. But culturally, mm, we could not get opportunity to decide ourselves. Culture and society and family and religion and everything behind the woman, they wanted uh, uh, cover her body, and she should uh, cover her body and character, so many things always watching us. That is the problem. Women never being liberated in this country because of this cultural and political and society, so many things behind on her life. But my life is also same thing of problem I faced in my village. In after 13 years, all the Muslim girls, all the puberty, they could not go out from the home. Uh, Maybe 8 years or 7 years or 5 years, we have to in a home only without going outside, and we waiting for our wedding. No, we could not meet anyone. We don't know what about outside. What about men? We don't know anything. But every woman after eight, they finished the education. It was the so many years it was continued. My sisters, they are very intellectuals. I know everybody is very young intellect women. I live with them, but I why they getting education? I'm also, but we could not get education, proper education. That time Barda is not that time is not popular. Only in our village we used white white color, huge cloth. We have to cover our head and body, but it's face fully we not cover, and body and dresses anyone can see. But after marriage, maybe women can wear that. We can go out. Now these days, after 18, everyone is wearing parda. They covered their head and I like they covered everything. After the Middle East, all the men they are going to Middle East. They are bringing that kind of culture. Everybody is now wearing that. But Islam in Quran never told about covering close our face. We have to open. Okay, never told about that. Never against education also. Islam not is the always we have to teach. We have to learn something. Islam is telling like that. But this community they don't have a male-dominated society. They thought we have to put women inside the home. We have to cover her body full. We should not go out. Like lot of policies they are making in the rural and everywhere. Now everybody is following. But at least I could not get education that time. Now the women they are wearing parda. They can get education. They are going to college. They are going to higher education like Nisha Parveen and so many women in my village, they are going to college. But that time, Bada is not available. The people not wearing that. There are so many difficulties women are always facing. Religion is men using religion. They want to stop us from all the things. This is the problem. Yes. We have to always. I'm telling, dress is our own choice. No one decide. But this Karnataka issues, they are making political communal issues. After the so many years we are facing in Islam society, Muslim society in all over the world and particularly in India, women not only attacked, all the men, all the so many men are killing, attacking. Jai Shri Ram is everywhere. There are people using after 80 BJP government came to power, all the Muslim communities, they wanted to do something. That's why the CAA and they implemented CAA and the triple talaq issue they took, and so many problems they are making. Now again they are attacking communally. They are seeing all the things. Nisha told now women are everyone in classrooms, we can use Bindi. No one asks. It's our, they are, whatever they believe, they can use it. Punul, the people wear punul and grass, everything is accepted. But now they are making problem because the Uttar Pradesh election are coming. They wanted hate. They are developing hate. Hate. The situation is like that. But they're cornered us. They want to attack us. They want to stop our Muslim community forwarding, going to forward in education. That's the problem. This is the BJP is doing everything against Muslim community, not only women. This is a new issue they are starting now. Yes.
Right. So interestingly, Nida and Salma, you both differ on whether to wear the hijab or not, but both of you have pointed to the, the crux of the issue, which is Islamophobia, and which is what we are seeing across the society today. Nisha, you want to tell us about your journey?
Yeah, sure. But also, I want to say that I'm in complete resonance with what Salma and Nida have said. I mean, every one of those lines could have come from me as well. So complete agreement with all of that. Personally, I grew up in a family where the women kind of moved mostly from the traditional dress of the Mapla Muslims into the sari. Most, my immediate, the women in immediate family, um, grandmothers, sisters, mum, aunt, so I I grew up with a rather majoritarian gaze on the hijab. Um, and I still remember as a 9 and 10-year-old arguing fiercely, with people in the family about why the hijab is not okay. I was well into my adulthood. I was much, I think, mid 20s, late 20s, when I really was able to unpack what that majoritarian gaze did to me and to my sense of self. And it's, I think, the almost like the greatest tragedy of my life that it took me that long to unpack it, because there's really no help to unpack it. There's no examples. There's very few women out there who were able to talk about it at that point. Social media didn't exist. So a lot of the normalization of the majoritarian gaze that I had internalized, it took a while to unpack it. Today, of course, I understand the hijab as something that is, like Salma said, completely personal and completely up to um, the individual. But what also helped me in this journey was something that happened with my grandmother, and that kind of always was the questioning was always came back to my grandmother. So my grandmother took the hijab only after my grandfather died. She was 60 at the time, still very young. And she took the hijab then. And it caused a kind of tehelka in the family because it was the first time that was happening. And she just put her foot down and she said, I have lived my life according to my father and my husband, and now not my kids are not going to tell me how to live. So seeing her do that, I don't know what exactly her reasons are. When I have asked her about it, and she just said no, it was important to me. Maybe there are parts of it she doesn't want to go into with me. But so I had to reconcile with this otherwise very progressive grandfather who educated my mother, her sister, and stood against a lot of people in the community who said, "Why are you sending your girls off to a college in another district?" kind of thing. They're going in public buses, they're wearing saris and going. It became, it was quite the trash talk at that time that my mum and Masi and all had to go through. So he's a deeply progressive person, but he also kind of used that majoritarian gaze that he was responding to tell my grandmother, ki, no, I want to be this modern Muslim man, you are my modern Muslim wife, and you can't wear the hijab. So this idea, this binary between modernity and being Muslim was just so like internalized that it took me a while to unpack that. Today, it's very obvious that no matter which community you are in, this garb of modernity is just falling, no, for everyone. Um, yeah, so there's really no question of that binary at all. But I do want to say, though, that there are lots of examples in my own extended family where the hijab is a way for women to educate themselves, access public spaces. It's very, very important that they're able to do that. And to my mind, that fight is the bigger fight. Um, and even as an educator, my fight is that um, what we've got to do is to be able to teach how to think through these personal and structural oppressions, the oppressor inside of you, the oppressors outside of you, the oppressors in your family, and provide that strength to be able to push back against that. Today, there are many women in my family who post, the Babri Masjid demolition, post the globalized Islamophobia that became so normalized. Post that, they began to take up the hijab, much like Nidha asserts herself. I have many, many friends and family who do that because it's important to them, and which is why when we hear, we've been hearing this right from the time of the CA protests as well, that why do these Muslims have to bring religion into this? The point is that we are being attacked on religion, and women like Nidha are on the front lines of that because they wear those markers of religion. I still have some protection because I can blend into this majoritarian idea, because I wear my hair open, I wear clothes that may not mark me out. It's only when I give people my first name, my identity card, things like that, that I'm revealed to be a Muslim. So even I have a measure of protection that women like Nidha don't have. And so it's ridiculous to be expecting Muslims to say, I will keep my identity aside. When you've pushed the community into a corner, and you've pushed them into such a corner that neither the courts take so much of cognizance of what is happening, neither does the media, barring for spaces like this, neither does society. I mean, it feels often like Muslims have been left to just deal with this on our own. Sometimes I have we have light-hearted conversations. Me and some of my Dalit friends, especially in the theater, and we joke about this. Using dark humor to kind of help ourselves move through this. I tell them that, look, at least you have, politically, you are empowered in the political realm, right? Even politically, Muslims have been pushed into some kind of a corner. So where does one go? What does one do? Um, there is so much exhaustion amongst so many Muslim women I know. We have to fight for the basics. We have to repeat and repeat and repeat these basics, right? And nobody seems to be listening. Nobody seems to be listening. Very few seem to be listening, rather. So, how many times, how many women will it take to keep repeating this? That this is individual choice. Look at this room. The fact that there are three of us who have three different ways of presenting ourselves, but still strongly assert our Muslim identity. This is a microcosm, right?
Right. So all three of you brought up very, very relevant issues. But whenever we speak of the Indian Muslim woman, it is always projected that the hijab or the burqa are the number one concern that we all have to address and kind of rescue them from their oppression. I want to ask you, how important is the hijab in Indian Muslim women feminist circles? How much of a priority is it, and what are the issues that you're actually discussing within your circles? Nidha, you want to tell us?
Okay, so for me, I didn't. Okay, so it's actually I was thinking about how much they have want to be the saviors of us, and first of all, it was actually we were oppressed, seen as we are under the male oppression, and now we are seen as a threat to the secularism. Our hijab is seen as a threat to the uniformity, threat to the peace, and I always look into the my friends, even who are called so-called the feminist liberals, progressives. I every time look to their walls, and I had seen many times that they compared the burqa, they compared the hijab to the South Africa, and I was just shocked about this. I mean, how apathic, how casteist, how racism they are putting into this, how Islamophobics they are putting into this, and when this whole hijab issue has happened, I didn't see one, even one of my friends was filled with these issues, and they just want to be the saviors, or they want us to liberate from the hijab, but not any kind of solidarities. When we want to put this, when someone is fighting to put a hijab, to don a hijab, they never want to be with us. They just want to be the saviors of. I mean, this is my personal experience, which I had seen in my own friend circles, which I had in my Delhi, in my school, whatever it is, in my neighborhoods. This is what I had seen in my circles, and I always at this moment it's very important that everyone should come together in solidarities. But even at this time when we appeal for a solidarity, what I had seen is that it's changed. It's all the things is changed just to right to education. I don't understand the point of it. We are near to the even we are near to the genocide. It's already the report had came that we are at the eighth stage of the genocide, and still people are saying as this is the right to education. Keep your religion and fight for the education. I had seen many of my friends walls filled with right to education, but not to right to profess our own religion, which we believe. This just means that people still can't accept the hijab or accept. They always want this excess. This our dress is seen as something excess. Muslimness is seen as something excessive to us, and while lessen your dress, it's more liberated you are. If you have dress excessive dress, you are so much oppressed. You are under male oppression. If your dress is much lessen, you are liberated. That's the kind of view I have get views point their approach I had get from the walls they represent. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Salma, in your feminist circles, what are the issues that women are discussing, Muslim women? What is of priority to them? What are the issues that they really care about and they want to bring to the forefront?
Uh, most of the women, we are first fighting with the same community for the freedom or education. We have to fight with the family. We have to fight with the society for the education, for freedom. Not only our community always in such a committee we know about that reports so much we are backward than Dalits in our community. We don't have men also, not only Muslim women. Men also, we are not going for the higher education. We are not going for the men and women. So both are now literally we are changing. But women always fighting for the right education rights and the freedom with the community, with the society. But these days, after the 80s, I could see lot of girls, 5, 6 years girls also wearing hijab, and they're really it's very sad. We have to go back forward, but again they are pulling behind women in the societies. They are doing like that. My cousin, only 6 year old girl, she is wearing hijab. Can you imagine why? What's the need? We want education. We have to liberate our society and women also. But the men always not letting us go forward or so many things. As a feminist, I'm always thinking myself, women, most of them, my experience, my family and so many girls I met, no, so many women, they not like to wear parda. It's reality. But why they wanted wear? They want get some education, some relief, some freedom. They accepted it. First, they need education. They need to go out. They need to go some freedom and some outside something. As a feminist, I could not accept for women bodies uh, controlling by the community, by the men, by the religion, by the so I could not accept. But in our country, it will take long time. I think we have to fight. As a feminist, I could not accept so many things. But this time, we have to fight for against the fascism, against the BJP fascism. Now we are supporting the hijab and parda. Okay, why you are bothering about that? The women, they are getting some education. Why you are going to stop? Why you are making communal issue this issue? Women, they have to decide after getting education. Before I wore parda, you don't know anything. I wore parda some years, maybe 20 years before. Then after that, I was getting more power. I decided I don't want to. As a feminist writer, I'm writing women freedom and women issues. Why I have to wear? Then I decided to remove the parda. Women have to decide. Maybe it will happen. It will happen.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
in future.
Nisha, would you say that the fight against patriarchy within the community has kind of become harder because of the rampant Islamophobia around you. Would you say that, women in the community are not able to question their own community because there is so much negativity around it in society today? So, do you feel it's become more difficult?
Before I get to that, I just want to I bring a nuance into some of this. A lot of feminists, even the girls themselves, are fighting for the right to access education. That some of them are in hijab is incidental, but they're fighting for the right to continue their education. I think that little nuance is important to keep hammering, to not lose sight of that. They're not fighting for the right to wear the hijab. They've already been wearing the hijab for whatever reason it is, and they are now, the fight is now to access that education. So just to kind of bring that in and to go back to your question, yes, for sure it's become more difficult because now you know, patriarchy isn't limited to the Muslim home. We know that, of course. And the tools might be different for the Hindu home or for the Christian home, for any other home. The tools of the patriarchy might be different. It might be clothes, it might be, the Mangal Sutra, the Sindoor, it could be moving away from one home and being forced to live in, another home that one doesn't want to. It could be many. It could be, being forced to have more children than you want. The tools of the patriarchy are many, and the hijab is also something that could be made into this tool. So the minute there is that internal conversation amongst the women in Muslim homes, the demonization of Muslim men then becomes something that everybody kind of catches on to. When the truth is that Muslim men have to do as much work to liberate themselves from this patriarchal gaze, right? That they are kind of in the clutches of. So that struggle remains the same, but because of the larger Islamophobia, a lot of women, I myself included, have hesitated from at least being very public about some things. We kind of close in sometimes within the community. Because then the instances where the coercion is real then gets blown out of proportion and it makes the feminist struggle even more difficult. It makes then the men in the home much more stubborn, much less receptive to things like, the child's voice, the teenager's voice, the young woman who's going to college, their voice. And it's ridiculous that no matter what women do, our bodies are still up for this game, and every time something like this happens, I don't know which part of me is more offended. Like, is it the woman in me? Is it the Muslim in me? Like, which part of me is more offended? It is offensive to multiple identities that we hold, right? Um, and and even with Muslim men, um, there is those who have ways to hold on to this agenda of oppressing women, and they're not all men is real here. They then become the voices that get amplified, as opposed to the men who are doing the inner work of reflecting, of battling the patriarchal forces, of supporting the women. I have hazar examples that I can throw in the face of these liberals who don't understand our reality, of men who are doing this work, within the home, outside in public. I have a lot of them who I call dear friends, but whose voices get amplified because it's convenient to the Hindutva project. And I don't know when people, well-intentioned people, are going to see that our fringe and our worst oppressors in the Muslim home, in the Muslim community, is compared to the mainstream of Hindutva leadership, to the mainstream, to those who sit in government, to those who deploy tools of the state to oppress the citizens. How is that a fair comparison? How is that, that kind of both sidism is ridiculous and deeply, deeply enraging, that this is what we've come down to, that people are so hold up in their ideological battles that they can't see this difference. It is not the Maulvis who are holding that power in government, who hold the tools of the state to enable change. It is not the Maulvis. It is not these patriarchs in the Muslim home. They're not the same. When you have the leaders of this regime who sit with their orange robes, who hold dharam sansads and deploy the might of the state, how is that a fair comparison to what is happening here? And people who can't
Absolutely.
see how these are related, open your eyes, really open your eyes. How many more times to
Right.
say this?
And you made a very important point about how this patriarchal oppression is not limited to the Muslim woman and how it cuts across cultures. In fact, I was telling a friend of mine that if this whole debate had been about whether this piece of cloth should appear on the chest or not, then this dupatta, if it had been, if it was a debate about whether women should wear it across the chest or not, men from across cultures would have sat at the same table and agreed
Absolutely.
that all women should wear it. All right.
I want to bring one story into this. This is something that someone I know shared, that and I came across this on social media, that when they were in college, or rather when they were starting out, this is someone who is talking about their grandmother. So when their grandmother was able to access school, as the Muslim woman, their best friend, who was from a Hindu, from a Brahmin home, was not allowed to access education. They were only able to learn by rote shlokas and the Puranas and the epics. But here was this Muslim woman who was able to use the fact that Islam talks about educating women, talks about the importance of educating women, um, and she was able to, this grandmother of hers was able to access education. So these are the things, these are the stories that tell you the fight, the real fight, and not what gets amplified. Yeah.
Right. Nidha, you're from Kerala. I just want to ask you this question about the Muslim Educational Society banning the niqab in across 150 institutions governed by them. So this has been brought up again and again into this discourse. So if the Muslim community does it, then it's okay. Why are you objecting when we are saying the same thing? So this is a question that's being asked a lot. What is your response?
So first of all, the whole discussion is different. I mean, the two things which happening is very different. I mean, MES issue is very different from what's happening now. But this issue, this particular issue, which is MES issue, is actually it's actually disagreed by most of the Muslim organization in Kerala, and and the thing is that it's a private institution, so they can do about their own policies. I mean, they can amend their own policies. They can do that things, and which is also should much be taken into the thing is that this wheeling, which I see as essential, is interpreted in different ways. I just rolled it, people just put it in neck, and it's interpreted in different ways, but it's seen as, I'm seeing it as an essential thing, which is showing a spiritual act to me. The same way the women are there is seen as this face, reading covering the face. Reading the face is seen as, okay, reading the face is seen as something which is a spiritual act for them. So the same way someone is trying to remove the hijab and forcing is both is kind of a fascism. I just believe that
Yeah.
both is a kind of fascism. Someone forcing it and someone is forcing to remove it is both is a fascism. I believe so. That's the issue. And this MES issue came after the before 1 year. That before that, 2018, I guess, there was an issue of that two women went to the High Court on, it's Fatima's Tasma versus State of Kerala, I guess. Yeah, they went to High Court to wear the hijab, asking for the permission to wear a hijab in Christ College, which was denied by the court because it's a private institution. But this is a pre-university college, which is happening in a government college, which give which is to give the the accessible education to everyone, which is the motive is to education for all, and with accepting every diverse culture, multiculturalism, by accepting all the things. And the issue is very different. Their attack is not just hijab; it's Muslimness. They just want to eradicate the Muslimness.
Yeah.
The whole idea is they just want to exterminate the Muslimness from India. It's just state apartheid we are seeing, and bringing this whole issue is actually every time it happens. Yeah, that is it. So,
Okay. So, Salma, you had spoken earlier about how you see the burqa as something that is now enabling girls to go to school. Whether you agree personally with a woman wearing the burqa or not, you see it as something that is allowing girls to go to schools and access education now. So, if this spills over to other states, what we are seeing in Karnataka today, and it probably will because it is something that has caught on. If you see this spreading to other states, what do you think will be the impact on ground for Muslim girls and women who want to go to colleges and schools?
First, our society is not um, progressive. Patriarchy always there. That is the main issue. Not only Muslim women in this country. Rajputra, I know a lot of Rajputra friends, and in the southern in Tamil Nadu, so many women where I know they don't get proper education freedom. I know how much they are obediently for men. So many things I know. But this problem is this is uh, the society is in Indian culturally we are very male dominated and patriarchy society. Now these days, sometimes I thought when the women we want to go for education, we have to get permission from the family. That is the main problem, I think. Everywhere, same kind of issues is there. That we could not decide ourselves anything. Any anything we could not our wedding also our still it's happening. Well, the honor killing is so many in southern part of Tamil Nadu. So many honor killings is happening in all the religious and caste families. Family killed the daughter and everything is happening. Uh, this time, why we are going to support for the this issue for Muslim women for one Varda. Uh, we need lot of changes. We need lot of changes. Suddenly, would not happen. Literally, it's going uh, via education. After education, the women they can think about the freedom and they can do everything themselves. We thought, but and other a government college on the uh, PJP or Hindutva people forced to remove the hijab for that. It's the problem. No one, nobody have to try to force food or dress and anything. This issue is because we are going to support this, but really we need proper education, proper freedom from the community, from the patriarchy society, from the religious uh, fundamentalist people. We have to so we have to work together. We have to protest against all the patriarchy issues, not only this issue, but this politically is happening. It's very sad. Political issue. This happening because of the mainstream politician. They are making this problem of, against women uh, for the vote bank. They had they brought hate and everything. They brought all the things against this community. That's why we are worried. As a minority, we are living threatened by the. Um, this is very sad. We have to. This is our country. We born, we brought up from here. We are mingled with the people. We are living with these people so many years. Still, they could not accept us. They are always telling us to go to Pakistan. The problem is always uh, happening from the BJP government. The fascism is there. They want destroyed us. They want make all the things against us. That's the problem. We have to identify the issue. Real issue is the uh, they hated us. They wanted uh, destroyed this community. This is the main issue, not only Barda issue. The issue is
Yeah.
only that one. Yeah, not only Barda is the one more issue they are starting, but the main issue is that Islamophobia. They wanted more vote. They wanted to make problem for against us. Everything is behind but BJP is doing now.
Okay.
Yeah,
My
couldn't
last
agree more. The
question.
Muslims are easy pickings, basically. I just want to plus on what what Salma also said, that the real we need to go back and ask uh, what is Hindu society doing with these radicalized youth? What is Hindu society doing with the hatred that is coursing through all of these young bodies? What is it doing? It is not just destroying our homes and our psyches and our lives and dignity. It is also destroying Hindu homes, because that kind of hatred, it doesn't stay limited to only the Muslims. That kind of hatred takes over, your entire body and psyche. What is society doing with that? Stop looking at just this as this at this as a Muslim problem. It is not.
We should actually
There
start.
of course might be agendas. Absolutely, there of course might be agendas on both sides. None of us are naive here. There might be agendas on both sides. Polarization benefits politicians always. But the truth of the matter is that there is one side that is constantly fanning this, that is not allowing a community that has, limited access to resources, to education, to water, health. There is one party that fans this constantly. Why isn't the gaze, on that party, on the Sangh, on BJP? Why is that question not being asked enough? Who benefits by not asking that question? Who benefits by just constantly, talking about saving Muslim women? Who benefits? Whose are the voices that gets amplified in those situations, and whose are the voices that truly needs to be amplified? I think these are the questions we need to be asking. We need to stop wasting time asking, asking questions of hijab and things that are non-issues. You asked what are issues for young Muslim women. That's not an issue. What is an issue for Muslim women is freedom to choose, to live life on their terms. They want to study what they want to study. They want to live life with freedom. They want to access the same kind of aspirations that every other youth has. They want freedom from oppressive forces at home. They want to be able to not, like Neda said, she always feels like she's singled out. They want to not feel that. Those are issues of the young Muslim people, men and women. Ask the right questions, and spaces like this is what is important to be able to do that, because we know that mainstream media is not going to do it. We know that very few public voices are able to take on the might of the state. We know what happens to people who raise their voice. So it's up to
One,
spaces like us, to people like us, to do it. If
one,
civil society doesn't step in, who else is?
one more
My
thing,
last.
Soumya.
Yes.
Uh, these so many years we are watching what happened in Karnataka in the lovers Valentine
Yes,
Day.
yes,
What
Yes.
happening?
yeah.
What happening? We saw that, and so many bars they are entering that APP group and Hindutva forces entering the bar. They are attacking. girl and boy, especially girls, they are attacking by them. This kind of uh, things happening, as they are doing all the nonsense last 8 years. Before Bangalore, not like that. Before Karnataka is not like that. Everything is slowly changing. How men and women, they are going to meet some outside, or with not only the lovers, the friendly they can meet, but they are attacking. Why? This problem is seriously we have to watch this kind of situation. This country ruin the country. What about our private privacy? What about our personal life? What about our interest? What about our freedom? Everything is ours, but they want take everything with themselves, them hand. That is the RSS, Hindutva, BJP group ruining this country. All the IT companies, these people, they will get out from the country. It will happen because this kind of nonsense culturally they could not accept. How can they live there? This is part of the culture of them. But they want take all the things with themselves, them the freedom, everything. They wanted control them, control the people. They want control the religion. They want control the women. They want control everything. There are government is watching everything. Where is the government? What they are doing?
Yeah.
The
I studied in Mangalore,
the
Salma.
class. Uh,
I studied
the
in Mangalore. This was mid 2000s, and it was a very different Mangalore then. Very different
yes.
Mangalore.
Yes,
Yeah.
I visited Puttur last year. One of my friend, Brahmin friend, I visited her home. She said, evening we walked on the street. She afraid. As you are Salma, you are Muslim. I'm really afraid. This Hindutva is now very much spread there. They can attack you. That kind of afraid. She is having that own city. She is living there. She afraid. That is the problem. This is not only Muslim community problem for Muslim community. This country's problem. We have
Yes.
it's
to face it.
it's not
Right.
helping.
That
Just
that actually, Nidha, let me just ask this question. This actually brings me to that question I wanted to ask. As you said, it's not a one community's problem, and there are many people who are subscribing to this Hindutva ideology. There are also many who have their misgivings about what's happening. People who are not Muslim but are worried about what's happening. According to you, what would be a meaningful gesture of solidarity for the Muslim community that others can show? Nida?
yeah, first of all, I just want to say we should start from our own homes. I mean, to all my friends here hearing this, I just want to say we should start from de-radicalize our own home. I think how much like every Hindu man, every my Hindu friends, I think every friends can do this from their own home. They can start de-radicalizing their own parents, their own friends. This is the first thing and the most thing we must do in our own homes, and just make aware. I mean, if it's just putting a poster about this, just sharing these things and making everyone aware, but what's the truth and not other side, what's the truth, making them aware of this. And now we have very big platform to make convey this. We have social medias, everyone is active there. We have a wide platform to take this to them, and streets are open there. And it's not, I had seen that in many Muslim majority areas the protests are happening against this hijab ban, and everything is happening in Muslim majority area. And I think if it's happening in Hindu majority areas, in all areas, in the towns, in the like, make them this, we resist this, just making the government know that we resist this, we don't want this. So I just want to say this, there shouldn't be any condition of asking us to choose between education or education or hijab, education or religion, asking us to choose between secular or religion. And this is the main thing I had been hearing about for a long period, like asking us to choose between these two dichotomies. And I had also heard in the recent interview of OVC one one interview asking him that asking him to choose between Bharat Mata Ki Jai or Allahu Akbar, and this is what we are hearing, what we have been hearing in Ginging also, asking them to choose between go to Pakistan or Jai Shri Ram. So asking us to choose between these two dichotomy is not the right thing. What we need is keeping our own, asserting our own identity, dignity. We should be given a space to learn, and we need a very great solidarity. I mean, a wide solidarity means wide solidarity. So because it's at its zenith, this is at its peak, and there is nothing else we can do rather than asking for solidarity. And what we need is an unconditional solidarity, and people come with us. Just speak for the Muslims out here, because there is nothing else. The most, if you are looking into the condition of Karnataka, it's not just hijab, banning of hijab, but we know the cases there, love jihad, how much it's at the peak. And even if you ask the students, they wait for years, they were not allowed to use their languages, Bari and Urdu. So these are the languages they're using, like Muslimness. It's a kind of, the majority of the Muslims use the language Urdu and Bari, and they were restricted from using these languages, and they were even restricted from using Arabic, which is greeting salam. They can't say assalamu alaikum. They can't greet their friends in front of a professor, in front of their sir. So it's just exterminating the Muslimness. Everything, whichever the Muslim identity is here, they just want to exterminate. And I just want to say to the all people here, just give us solidarity and unconditional solidarity, and de-radicalize your own harms. That's it.
De-radicalize your own homes. Yes. Okay. So, Nisha, anything to add to that?
Nida has just said it all. Nida, thank you for just saying it so loud. And yeah, I just want to say, stand with us. We can speak. Look at Nida. Does she look oppressed to you? I mean, she's voicing exactly what she wants to say. This is what we have in our homes, all of our homes. These are the women. Just stand beside us, stand alongside us, stand behind us, and just support us when we say this. We can fight this battle. You just need to stand alongside us, right? And in the long term, Nida spoke about de-radicalizing, yes, but in the short term, what you can do is, most cities, feminist and secular organizations have started putting out candlelight vigils and marches. Watch out for those, look out for those, find them, make it your thing for the evening, for the weekend, whatever. Get your bodily presence into that protest site. These are peaceful protests led mainly by women, and you have nothing to fear. Your support will go a long way. Most Muslims in this country find it hard to sleep at night. That is the level of brutality we're talking about. So your presence there will make the most difference, whether it is talking about your own stories with patriarchy and individual choice, on social media, in your homes, in your WhatsApp groups, whatever space you can get. Push back, make it personal, make it as personal for you as it is for us.
Salma, any closing thoughts on how we can show our solidarity about the situation?
Yes, in Tamil Nadu, it's already started. So many protests, all the social activists, political parties, they are gathering in the street, on the street, against this issue and the government of BJP. We already started. This should be our only hope. As a
Yes.
Muslim, this is our country. We want to live this country with all the community, all the people. Now, we don't have any hatred against anyone. We have to love each other. That's why we have to gather ourselves. All the community support us behind with us. That's why this country will go up. Otherwise, it is going to ruin. It's very sad. We need all the solidarity from the outsiders, not only with us.
Yeah.
Only Muslim community we have to support now, but it's not need. We have lot of support from outsiders, all other communities, all our brothers and sisters from Hindu community and Christians, and everybody is No, we have to live country, our future children, and everybody is want to live very good life. Should not like this threatening. Should not happen in future.
Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me, and my salams to all of you for the wonderful, strong women that you are. May your voices grow loud. Before all of you log out, a quick reminder to our viewers to please support independent media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to become a member of the News Minute.